Good morning, all of you. I'm Dr. Suraiya Shahin, and today I will deal a very important topic, and that is lesson from Frida. Backbone can win over broken spine. And this is a blog written by Twinkle Khanna. In this blog, Twinkle Khanna has not only narrated the painful life incidents of Frida Kahlo, but she has also raised the meaning of life, pain and trauma of life. You must have heard about Twinkle Khanna, who started her career as an actor in 1995 and continued in that profession till 2001. Her published book, Mrs. Funny Bones, in 2015 became a bestseller book. Apart from writing books, she is also known for writing columns, blogs for daily news and analysis and Times of India. Okay, so before going into detail of this blog, I want to tell you about Frida Kahlo, who was a famous Mexican artist. Her influences and focus at the Museum of Fine Arts. Her life story is an inspiration for all, how she struggled hard without losing hope in hard days of her life. She is also famous for making self-portraits. Frida Kahlo is also famous for making self-portraits. In one of her last self-portraits, we find the suffering life of Frida Kahlo. The particular blog, Lesson from Frida, is on a visit to a Frida Kahlo exhibition at Victoria and Albert Museum in London. This blog of Twinkle Khanna is more personal and more reflective than other blogs. It immerses out of a deeply personal experience of visiting an exhibition dedicated to an extraordinary woman artist. In the first paragraph of this blog, the writer here tells us the married life of Frida Kahlo, who loved a well-known painter named Diego Rivera. But her relation couldn't continue for a long time, and once divorced, they reunited. So many ups and downs came in her life, but she didn't lose hope in her life. In the next paragraph, the writer reveals us the early suffering and troubled life of Frida Kahlo, who became a great artist by making her suffering the springboard of her artistic journey. Frida Kahlo suffered lots of pain in her life, not just from polio, but also from a bus accident that made her a cripple throughout her life. Despite of her broken spine, she found the inspiration and mustered the courage to transform the bed that was her prison into a studio. Why she transformed her bed into a studio? Because of her broken bones, she was unable to walk even a single step. She still transformed her bed into a studio. While lying on the bed, she was able to create the immortal paintings, which is now regarded as one of the most influential artists of the 20th century. Because she wanted to be a great artist, so she wanted to fulfill her dream. What the writer here informs us that Frida Kahlo expressed her pain and suffering in her painting. Okay, so she found her art as a medium to express not just her pain but also to overcome it. Now, the next paragraph, a shared pain. In this paragraph, Twinkle Khanna reveals us a parallel between Frida Kahlo's suffering as well as her own. When the writer moves ahead into the chamber, she saw Kahlo's orthopedic back braces, corsets, metal buckles, a prosthetic leg, etc. The devices that Frida Kahlo herself decorated in her room despite her broken bones and fractured body. The decoration of Frida Kahlo's room reminded the writer, the Twinkle Khanna, of her own struggles in the journey of her life. In this paragraph, the writer Twinkle Khanna makes us familiar with her struggle that started with a simple fall from a first floor window when she was only 8 years old. Although she acknowledges that her own sufferings and troubles were nothing when compared with that of Frida Kahlo's. Nevertheless, it reminded her the experience of being confined to a bed for a long time. She tells us the similar situation and the medium of expression of pain. While Frida Kahlo found the expression of her pain and grief, and she found a way out of her prison like bed through her painting. On the other hand, Twinkle Khanna expressed her pain through the medium of verse and writing the books which ultimately defined her life. Now, coming to the next paragraph, transforming pain into art. In this paragraph, the writer's focus shifts from suffering in life to transforming that suffering and pain into art. The writer, after watching the cosmetics as well as self-portraits, found that Frida Kahlo was fond of dressing up, which displayed Frida's Mexican side of her personality. As the writer Twinkle Khanna walks ahead, she found Frida's self-portraits with a dead photos, which reflects Frida Kahlo's suffering and pain when she suffered multiple miscarriages. These paintings of photos symbolize the sense of her bitter life experience. The writer Twinkle Khanna here tells us that miscarriage or losing a pregnancy is a traumatic situation, a traumatic experience for the women who suffer it. And it was more painful for Frida Kahlo because of her troublesome circumstances. The paintings of photos which were attached to the body of Frida Kahlo are the medium of expression to her grief. The writer here also associates her own traumatic experience of losing pregnancy, which was also a traumatic situation for her. She informs the reader, though one can creatively engage with one's loss and pain in art, the memory of loss still remains throughout the life. The memory of loss never goes away from the mind of the people. So in the last paragraph, the writer shows Frida Kahlo's painting who is standing and looking at the mirror, which symbolizes the triumph of indomitable backbone over a broken spine, which means courage of spirit over a physically damaged spinal cord, and that's why the writer had chosen the title Backbone Can Win Over Broken Spine. Frida Kahlo was a completely different woman who was deeply conscious of her own making. Her world was not dreary or dark as one would expect of a woman in her situation. She had actually transformed her world into a vibrant and colorful place. So the writer here wants to say that one thing that stands out is pain, trouble, and troubling pain that stands alone, and it gives a meaningful structure to our lives. Just like day becomes meaningful because of night, if there was no night, there would be no importance of day. So joy also becomes meaningful because of suffering and pain. The writer conveys the message that what makes a life significant and memorable is not how much joy or how much suffering we have in our lives, but how courageously we deal with our suffering and overcome it and create something beautiful in life. In short, अगर हम बात करें तो इस ब्लॉग के थ्रू ट्विंकल खन्ना ने रियल पेनफुल स्टोरी जो फ्रीडा कहलो ने एक्सपीरियंस की है उसको लिखी है। फ्रीडा कहलो एक फेमस मैक्सिकन आर्टिस्ट थी जिसकी लाइफ काफ़ी पेनफुल थी। उनके लाइफ में काफ़ी अप्स एंड डाउन हुए, लेकिन कभी वह हिम्मत नहीं हारी। 18 ईयर्स की एज में एक बस एक्सीडेंट में फ्रीडा का बॉडी पार्ट्स फ्रैक्चर हो गया और वो पहले से ही एक डिजेबल्ड चाइल्ड थी, पोलियो से अफेक्टेड थी। अब यह जब उनका बस एक्सीडेंट हुआ और बॉडी पार्ट्स फ्रैक्चर हुआ तो यह उनके लिए एक लाइफ लॉन्ग पेन बनकर रह गया। पेंटिंग में काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट होने की वजह से वो फ्रैक्चर्ड बॉडी के बावजूद भी, ब्रोकन बोन्स के बावजूद भी बेड पर और पड़े रहने के पोजीशन में वह अपना पेंटिंग बनाती थी। ओके, और उसके बाद क्या हुआ, उनके मैरिड लाइफ में उनको डिगो रिवरा जो एक फेमस पेंटर थे उनसे उनका लव लाइफ स्टार्ट हुआ। और जब उनकी फैमिली उनके अगेंस्ट में थी तब भी फैमिली के अगेंस्ट में जाकर वो लव मैरिज की। उसके बाद फिर उनका डिवोर्स भी हुआ, फिर दोनों फिर से वह यूनाइट भी हो गए। अब यहाँ पे ट्विंकल खन्ना इस ब्लॉग में यह बताती है कि कैसे फ्रीडा कहलो फ्रैक्चर्ड बॉडी होने के बावजूद भी अपने ड्रीम को फुलफिल करना चाहती थी। फ्रीडा बचपन से ही एक फेमस आर्टिस्ट बनना चाहती थी। बचपन में बहुत सारे ऑब्स्टेकल्स को फेस करते हुए भी वो ड्रीम को फुलफिल की एज एन आर्टिस्ट। आज वह पूरे वर्ल्ड में जानी जाती है। वह अपना ही फेस बॉडी का पेंटिंग बनाती थी और बोलती थी, आई पेंट माई सेल्फ बिकॉज आई एम ऑफन alone. I paint myself because I am often alone and I am the subject I know the best. मतलब मैं अपने आप को ही पेंट करती हूँ, अपने बॉडी पार्ट्स का पेंटिंग करती हूँ क्योंकि मैं हमेशा अकेले रहती हूँ और मैं अपने आप को एज ए सब्जेक्ट सबसे ज़्यादा जानती हूँ। फिर फरीदा जब मल्टीपल मिसकैरेजेस होती है, बहुत बार अपने प्रेगनेंसी को खोती है, तो वह अपने फोटस का जो फेटस होता है उसका पेंटिंग बनाती है और उस फेटस जो होता है वो बॉडी से अटैच होता है उस पेंटिंग में, जो वह सिंबलाइज करता है उसके पेन और ग्रीफ को। तो ट्विंकल खन्ना हमें यही कहना चाहती है कि क्या जैसे फ्रीडा कहलो ने पेंटिंग के थ्रू, आर्ट के थ्रू अपने ग्रीफ को, अपने ट्रॉमा को एक्सप्रेस की, तो क्या इसका मतलब है कि इंसान का या फ्रीडा कहलो का पेन या जो सफरिंग था वो ख़त्म हो गया? नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं, नेवर। क्योंकि राइटर भी यही कहना चाह रही है कि यह जो पेन होता है, जो लॉस ऑफ मेमोरी होता है, जो ट्रॉमा होता है, वह थ्रू आउट इंसान के लाइफ में होता है और यह एंटायर लाइफ के लिए होता है, यह कभी ख़त्म नहीं होता है। सो वह इसके थ्रू बताती है कैसे ट्रॉमेटिक सिचुएशन होता है फीमेल्स के साथ जब वो प्रेगनेंसी होती है या मिसकैरेज होता है। तो राइटर हमें ये बताती है कि कैसे जितनी बार हम लाइफ में टूटते हैं उतनी ही बार हमारे अंदर स्ट्रेंथ क्रिएट होता है और हम उतनी ही ज़्यादा मजबूत हो जाते हैं और फिर हमारे सामने डिफ़िकल्ट से डिफ़िकल्ट सिचुएशन भी टैकल करना इजी हो जाता है। ओके, सो दिस इज़ ऑल अबाउट द पेनफुल लाइफ ऑफ फ्रीडा कहलो and how Twinkle Khanna correlates her pain and suffering with that of Frida Kahlo. So thanks for today. We meet in the next class.